ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's water cooler chat, where we talk about all things Livepeer, whether it's delegating, broadcasting, orchestrating, transcoding, or anything to do with the Livepeer ecosystem. We're here to ask questions and get answers. Today we got a regular water cooler chat ahead of us. Shan is unable to join us, so we'll just start with introductions, and I will have Mike Zuper moderating today's water cooler chat. So, Mike, would you like to kick us off with an introduction and get us started?
Will do. Thanks, Titan. So, hey guys, I'm Mike Zuper. Not only am I an orchestrator running Zodap, I am your guest moderator today. So, I've been involved since, a bit over a year, maybe a year and a half now with Livepeer. So, my christening date coincides with the move to Arbitrum 1, so maybe a month before that. So, I always have a guidepost telling me where I fit in. But so let's kick off some more intros and topics. For my topic, I don't have any right now because I'm moderating, but if I get involved, I'll start talking. So let's start on the list right away. Ben, Authority Null, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Any topics?
Hey guys, Authority Null. Been running my Orchestrator for almost 2 years now. I do not have any topics currently, but definitely here for the discussion.
Cool, thank you. Papa Bear, go ahead, man. Topics and introduction.
I am Papa Bear. I've been running the solar farm orchestrator since July of 2021. I am not prepared with the topic. I was hoping to have Shan start off so I would have some time to come up with a topic, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has, and I'm sure I'll come up with something. So that's all I got for right now.
Welcome, Papa. Welcome, Ben. Let's go ahead and get ThomasBlock.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Yes. So I'm quite new to the ecosystem. So I'm an orchestrator since today. Normally I'm coming from Filecoin and the Graph ecosystem. I'm running some nodes and was always interested in Livepeer. But to be honest, it was too expensive to get enough stake to be an orchestrator. So now with the cheaper price and the move to Arbitrum, I was again interested, and now I'm starting my operation and just want to learn what's going on in the ecosystem, and maybe if you have some hints what I could do right and wrong as a new orchestrator.
Cool. Welcome, man. That's great. Glad that you're in the community. Congrats on getting your orc up and running. There's a wealth of information. We'll definitely hit you with all that as this goes on. But so that's one topic for today. But again, welcome. Hey, Pon, go ahead and introduce yourself and any topics.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pon. I've been running Pon now just over a year now. I have no topic for today, so I'm just going to be listening in and joining the discussion.
All right. Speedy Bird, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey, Speedbird. I've been orchestrating for approximately 33 weeks. Just an approximation. I don't have any tops today. I was certainly interested in hearing about the speaker today, so I look forward to the next one. But yeah, happy to listen in and join the conversation.
Welcome aboard. Andrew, welcome back. I haven't seen you in a week or two. I've been away, but why don't you introduce yourself and give us some topics you got.
My name's Andrew, and I run an internet service provider out in Washington State, and we're getting into doing some crypto stuff because when you have good connectivity and you have a great community, you can make amazing things happen. It just takes a bit of time, but I just figured I'd listen in. I'm like, oh, it's Monday. Time to listen.
Cool. Always welcome aboard. So I think that's all of the introductions for now.
I'll quickly introduce myself because I do have a topic.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm Titan, been running the Titan Node Orchestrator pool since April 2021, and today my topic is actually about Orchestrator DAO. So it's this concept that I've had a talk about with Doug and some other people around the Treasury grant, the Treasury handing out funds, and how this should be an Orchestrator DAO, and this Orchestrator DAO can have all types of mandates, and we can definitely talk about the mandate of the Orchestrator DAO and how we want to organize it. So yeah, just looking to get some feedback on the idea and what we want to see in the ecosystem. And then yeah, so yeah, you have an Orchestrator DAO. That's what's topic.
Cool. Thank you. All right. So let's see if we can give another minute or two here before some other folks jump up on the stage. But if anyone wants to, I mean, Titan, you might as well go ahead right into your DAO if you want to break it down a little more for us.
Sure. Okay. Let's give it a try. So, are there other people in here a part of DAOs?
By DAO, are you talking smart contract governed?
I don't know, because I don't know exactly what a DAO is.
Yeah, so that's sort of what a DAO is, right? Without the smart contract, you're just in a chat group essentially. But like a real DAO is completely governed by a contract that dictates what happens, and things can be voted on, and funds are split depending on functions in the smart contract. That's what makes a DAO a DAO is the contract that can be governed by multiple people. Without the contract, it's a chat group with an agreement that you guys are going to do something in a decentralized way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, one of the struggles of doing on-chain voting with Livepeer is this skewed amount of stake, and for maybe at the treasury level where it needs to be not subjective at all, has to be completely objective, and it's all based on stake and so complete dissent part of it. There's this idea of now DAOs applying for funds from the treasury, and the DAO gets a bit more freedom, right? So rather than it being a stake weighted thing, maybe it's something like, well, all orchestrators. You guys still hear me? Can you guys hear me now?
Track. So,
There we
but
go. Can you hear
I
me
think
now?
that's definitely. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, you back?
Sorry, I disconnected there for a second. I don't know where I left off.
No,
You
we
were
were just
saying
talking
that
about the challenges of voting with Livepeer through the Explorer and the stake weighted approach to it.
Yeah. So the idea would then just to be create like an Orchestrator DAO where we could hand out maybe an NFT for each orchestrator, or some sort of like NFT for all orchestrators that want to be in the DAO, that are considered maybe high performing or active in the community. So you'd end up with, rather than 100 orcs, you end up with 50 orcs who are actively participating and want to have a greater say in how we can ecosystem. And so then we would apply for funding from the treasury. The treasury would give us funds, and then through on-chain voting through our NFTs, we could then be initiatives for everything from like Doug was saying, how there's a Orchestrator DAO that would be in charge of like Orchestrator side support, right? But then maybe there would be like a demand side DAO and then a video builder DAO, and I was like, honestly, I don't know how you're gonna get enough people in those DAOs. Maybe the Orchestrator DAO can also be responsible for supply side demand. So like maybe we can put that into our mandate, and we can start handing out grants to video app builders, right? Because I know us orchestrators are really interested in seeing demand side growth. So there's nothing wrong with adding that as a mandate to DAO that we can create. So I'll pause there for a sec. Can I just get some initial feedback on this idea? What is good? What is bad? You think?
I think.
Well, I was gonna just quickly say, if it's going to have roles that are beyond just orchestrator stuff, maybe it shouldn't be called the Orchestrator DAO, but that's just something small. But
I mean, I think
just
the impact of something like this depends on what the actual new governance system looks like and how a DAO can actually contribute to the voting. I'm not sure we have details on that yet. But I think it's a great idea to get some of the more active people and members of the community together to have a more balanced say on what happens with the protocol and what sort of public good initiatives get funded. I just
Yeah.
am wondering what the logistics of that look like, actually tying that into the protocol somehow.
Well, I think it's a
I don't
separate
know if
DAO.
it has to be. Yeah, I think it's going to be outside the protocol, right?
Yeah, it's a completely new thing that's being created, right? So like, on-chain voting would happen with an NFT, and the DAO gets to vote in who does or doesn't get the NFT, and then from there you would say, well, yeah, like then we would apply for funding from the treasury, and the treasury would grant us funding into a multi-sig or some sort of contract wallet, and then it would require X amount of votes to distribute the funds to X type of project agree upon. I don't know. This is all just like a brand new idea, and the idea is around having like a really good first applicant to the layer one treasury in Livepeer.
Well, look.
Okay, so you're kind
think
of saying like, let's make another grants committee, but
Essentially,
created by orchestrators and members of the community.
yes.
That's
Well,
cool.
think of it this way. Let's say as an orchestrators, we want to add net int cards or quick sync or but we know collectively we've talked about it. We wanted to do it. The skill set is real niche for that stuff, right? Like, and to make the changes to go, we probably would get a suboptimal output. But if we as an orchestrator group can come up with a compelling business case to say, look, here's what we're proposing, get the funding through the grants program, then we can, as a group, collectively seek out those specialized skills needed to do those tasks instead of us having to try to build it on our own or something along those lines. So I feel like it's a good way where you can get very specific and real niche in terms of what the mandates are, and that it'd be a good way to drive the open source protocol, the code itself, for the benefit of the orcs and the T's, right? Like, to me, at least that was my initial thought when Titan started talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I freaking love it. Is anyone against it here? Does anyone not want that to be a thing? I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer to me if this public goods funding goes through. Sounds awesome.
I completely agree.
Well,
I mean, I think it's a great idea.
I don't know.
'Cause
Has
we
anyone
can-
here
We can
done
focus
any
on
DAO
niche.
stuff?
Not like with a smart contract, but it doesn't sound like that's where we would go. It would be more of an aligned group of people with a multi-sig wallet and some funding to pick like the niche tasks that we think are important for Livepeer, right? It wouldn't necessarily be a complete DAO with a contract.
Maybe it could be, I guess, at some point, but I guess it's a good start.
I mean, you
We
could
have
probably do some simple on-chain voting with just an NFT, like Titan said, and you can do like a Discord that is token gated as well. That's fairly simple.
Right. So like I haven't. Oh.
Yeah, hey y'all. I'm running the Where's Numeris Orchestrator. I think I've missed like the last 2 or so watercolors due to holidays, but I'm back now. I kind of joined mid-explanation regarding the DAO, but what I heard so far, I really like it, and I think that's also kind of the idea of the whole 2-tier grant or future grant system. So yeah, I'm all for it. And no
Cool.
specific topics from my side.
Welcome as usual. Glad you're back from your holiday. I as well am returning from holiday, so good to be back together. So we have another one, Spanish, or do you want to give yourself an intro and talk about any topics? Not sure we can hear you. All right, we'll.
You may want to leave the chat and come back, and sometimes that'll fix the sound.
Hi, you can hear me,
Oh,
guys?
there we go. Yeah, now we got you.
Yeah, we're good now.
I'm just a lurking community member. I'm quite interested in Livepeer as someone that did live camera feed streaming like 2 years ago, and then Corona came, and so then
Cool.
business has transformed, and now I'm gonna like help a team recover, and I'm looking into new ways, into new stuff to try out. So I got into Livepeer, just at the moment, just lurking around and keep myself a bit in the background. But yeah, that's me.
No, that's cool. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you. We love lurkers. We love orchestrators. We love all of them. So it's feel free to jump in, chime in whenever you see fit. But this is a very welcoming committee or community. So good to have you. All right. So we were discussing this DAO concept. Sounds like everyone's on board with that. Anything else we want to cover with the DAO, or do we want to get into our next topic?
So yeah, I mean, this sounds like what was part of the original proposal. Would this fit into like the tier 2? I don't know if I'm using the terms right because I'm not super. I don't remember everything I read in the original proposal, but would this be like kind of like what was considered a tier 2?
Yeah, we'd essentially be a tier 2 group from that proposal,
Right.
just
Yeah,
like
no,
it was proposed.
Yeah, no, I think the NFT thing makes a lot of sense, and I'm totally for it.
Yeah, I just like, as Titan mentioned, they're talking about bringing in the demand and some of these other things. Like, I really feel like, to your point, is the Orchestrator DAO should be the things that we mentioned, like what can we do from a transcoder perspective, or GPUs and all that kind of stuff. FFmpeg version, like these are the kinds of things that I think impact the org. But ultimately, without a broadcaster or a video ingest DAO or something along those lines, where we can start to make targeted projects and mandates for demand increases. Like, to me, if we have an org DAO and we don't have an ingest or a video DAO, something that's going to getting us enterprise ready for the the mainstream adoption of this protocol, I think that would be not smart, right? Like, I feel like that's got to be part of it. That part has to come with it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Like 2 separate DAOs are kind of needed for that to actually move anything forward. You need like the video builder DAO and you need the orchestrator DAO, and the video builder is probably more of a priority than the orchestrator DAO.
Well, they're going to go together at some point, because obviously, you want to get the latest codecs and the latest GPUs, and you want to keep costs down, and that cost is going to be a driver for driving up demand, right? If you can get a demonstrated reduction in cost that you can, formulaically show the cost reduction, then that's where the demand side starts to increase, just because of the technological and infrastructure reductions, right? But I think they go together. That's all I'm saying. They kind of need each other to feed on each other.
Like, who would be the right people to be in a video builder DAO? Like, how would you choose the members for that?
Well, that's a good question. The formation of DAOs. This is new to me. I'm still learning in that regard, but that's something. I don't know, Speedy. Do you have any input on DAOs? Have you looked at that at all?
No, I didn't look into how to start one, but I think there are some bootstraps out there if you search for them, where you can get a DAO going from some templates. And if I'm not mistaken, I think quite a number of people have used certain ones of those templates to spin up their DAOs and get going.
That'd be another topic.
Yeah, I mean, my question was more like, what type of people would you put into the video builder DAO? Like, where would you what would your credentials have to be, or
what's the criteria to get into it?
Yeah, I mean, like with an orchestrator DAO, hey, you got to be an orchestrator. That makes sense. But would it? And again, going back to what Titan originally talked about, um, could the orchestrator DAO, you know, uh, take over or have a
Do
role?
demand side stuff too.
Right. I mean, and I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't, but I don't. At least they've shown commitment to the project and are involved in it. So. Um, I mean, like, it would be a pretty small pool right now for, I mean, off the top of my head, I can only think of like really Xenon that's using, Livepeer from the, a video builder side. I mean, there's people that are working on projects, smaller projects that
Lens
have actually,
too, right?
a lens, sure. Okay. I guess it's just a much smaller group. So that was kind of my question is where would you put, like, what would be there, like, your credentials needed? I don't know if credentials is the right word, but,
The criteria to be added to the DAO.
yeah,
Like how would you
yeah.
be a member? Like what makes you a member versus anyone else? Whereas the line of delineation for an org is real clear. This one, maybe needs some definition. But I think it goes back to formation, right? Like understanding how to properly form it. I think that probably will be where, that stuff starts to, the criteria gets spelled out. One would hope. Hey, Brad, I see you joined. Do you want to give an intro and any topics?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Brad here with the Ad Astra video node. No specific topic today, but happy to discuss or answer any questions or talk about the broadcaster introspection.
Yeah,
Or
we definitely
please.
are going to talk about that one.
All
All
right.
right. Well, welcome, man. Glad you're here. I think we were just wrapping up on the DAO conversation. Titan had brought up the idea of, an orchestrator DAO in which, we could to collectively get an NFT and start voting on projects and initiatives that are going to move forward. I think your introspection one would have been a good one for that orchestrator DAO. But in any event, we were talking about it, how to form them, and all these different topics. So if you want to jump in with some input, that's cool, or we can start talking about some of the other topics.
No specific input from me on that. That stuff gets a little above my head, I think.
All right.
Just a last comment on that. I think what I would like to see is Video Builder DAO spun up first, and then there's nothing saying that it can't just be filled with a bunch of orchestrators that care about the video developer side of the protocol, right? So, yeah, if you guys are interested, maybe we can put together a quick little meeting on like maybe structuring what the mandate of this DAO would be, and who would get in, and then from there we can kind of structure how the smart contract would work. I'm just looking at Third Web right now, and they have smart contracts for voting and deploying funds and managing DAOs directly through their interface. So I use Third Web a lot.
Yeah,
So
you said they have the templates that you can probably take, but I'd like to understand more about it too.
okay. Cool. Well, what we'll do is maybe if you guys are good with it, we'll start. Are we in consensus that like Video Builder DAO was probably more important than Orchestrator DAO to begin with? If we're going to start launching stuff and asking for funds, is that fair to say? Not that Orchestrator DAO wouldn't be a benefit. I just think a lot of us are pretty excited about getting users onto.
Yeah, I think they're probably both go hand in hand, but the demand side one's probably more important, right? I think that's definitely, we agree that it's very important.
Because the other conversation I had with Doug was something around the lines of like, there needs to be a kind of like a different onboarding process than just Livepeer Inc. And like Livepeer Inc. is great because it has this raised capital and it provides a simple interface and it accepts fiat and all these kinds of things. But there really should be another entity that is pushing a different method of onboarding video builders and apps onto Livepeer. So maybe that's what we could work on as a DAO. It's a perfect fit for a DAO is to build these tools to allow people to build on top of Livepeer without necessarily having to go through Ink, right? Or Studio, I should
Yeah, I
say,
think
particularly.
the way Doug said it was it's the difference between a stoppable protocol and an unstoppable protocol. If there's a single entity driving it, it's stoppable, right? If that entity fails, then the protocol fails. But if multiple entities are moving it, then it starts to become unstoppable as a protocol, and then there's no one entity can take it down. So that's how he at least described it. Then that I think it was his quarterly call or one of the last calls. But so that's good stuff.
Cool. Well, that's my topic, and what I'll do is I'll put together maybe a quick forum post on the creation of an a video builder DAO, and we can have a discussion on how we want to maybe build it out and what rules are in place, and then ideally we can have this DAO set up and ready to receive funds the moment the treasury goes live, so it can kind of be one of the first applicants to receive funds, and then we can start accepting kind of applications for people to build using Video Builder DAO funds,
Cool. Sounds good.
Cool.
It's exciting.
I look forward to it.
All right. So topics, Papa. What are we working with? What do you got on the list?
Well, we have Thomas, who's looking for hints for new orchestrators. And then we have Brad, who didn't sound really excited to talk about it, but we're going to talk about broadcaster interaction. So maybe we go over to Thomas and see, do you have any specific questions about starting up your
Yeah.
orchestrator?
So what are the things you've been doing, Thomas, that you've been working on? Like, what do you have questions about? Can we help you in any way first?
Yeah, so for example, how to monitor the node as a best practice to see if everything is working. I'm a big fan of Prometheus and Grafana, but I think there aren't so much stats, so I can't see how many transcoding sessions are happening. I have to look in the logs. Is that right?
Yeah. So here's the thing: we have many videos and documented sites that have the Prometheus and Grafana set up. So we'll get a couple links and shoot it into the chat for you. So there's definitely a set of steps. There's even videos that walk you through doing some of that. So we'll make sure you get all of the steps you need for that to get going. But absolutely, Prometheus, Grafana, all is being used. There's dashboards, pre-written dashboards you can use to kind of get in there, and it'll show you how many streams you have and how long they were. I mean, there's a plethora of information in there on that.
I just posted in the chat. So there's the forum post by Varies about how to set it up, and then I also have a step-by-step video tutorial, which basically just follows Varies' tutorial, but in a video format to make things simple if you're not familiar with how to deploy Prometheus and Grafana. Have you?
And are you? Oh, sorry, Titan.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, how are you running Livepeer? Is it natively on Linux, you Windows, or Docker, Kubernetes? What's your poison?
It's native on Ubuntu. Yeah, I have a Filecoin server where I have a quite big GPU and good internet connection, and I think that should do the job. What would you expect? So if I would attract some delegators, what kind of setup do I need? Do I need multiple GPUs?
No, what GPU are you using currently?
It's an A4000, more professional line.
Yeah, I mean, with the current
That'll-
demand, I don't
that'll
think
be
anyone
plenty.
will. Yeah,
Plenty.
yeah, you're totally fine. Even if you get, like 250, 500K stake, I think you'll still be okay with just one GPU. Where is the server based?
It's in a data center in Germany.
Okay, yeah, so you'll
Yeah,
hit the
so
EU node.
the one thing about Livepeer is that it's geo region specific. So if you're streaming video in the US, obviously it won't go to your node, right? It's going to be latency based. So I think there's regions, documented regions for Livepeer and where they're actually located. So, but there's a good footprint in the EU. So, and there's a Frankfurt node. So there's definitely work that you can get from that region.
Frankfurt will cover the entire EU. I mean, as long as you've got a good connection, which if you're in a data center, I imagine.
You're
we have
good.
a map?
Yeah.
Do we have like a map where we can like how like helium nodes are displayed?
Yeah, there's a documented set of IPs in which the locations are. You can always look them up, and I think we could post that into the chat as well.
I made it, so I can hopefully find it. Give me a second.
I've got it. I'll drop it in the chat. Yeah, we don't have a fancy interface
chart
like Helium, but we do have the IPs. So you can always ping them from wherever you are and see how far you are.
All depends on your egress and ingress traffic, though, too, especially if you're in your data center. A lot of data centers use the cheapest bandwidth possible. So, yeah, take that.
Yes, sir. Our resident ISP there, Andrew.
So, Tom, if you go to the side chat here, you'll see we have like 5 links for you. But yeah, so we got the Prometheus and Grafana forum posts. Speedybird also posted a full Docker-based approach to Loki and Grafana and Prometheus and Alert Manager, so a whole nother full stack approach to monitoring. And then as for attracting stake, I've posted a link to the startup grant. So if you want to...
Can you just tell me in the side chat? I don't see anything. I have your post from 9:25.
It's just within this... it's within the water cooler chat channel, like the voice channels. Be able to see it.
In this channel that we're in, there's a little speech bubble. Next to
It doesn't update for me.
Yeah, it didn't update. You had the last one you have is 9:25. There's some ones after that, 9:32, 9:33, and so on. So it looks
I
like
see like 10
Wow.
links.
I just seen them too. They're up. He's saying in his channel he hasn't received those link updates yet to his Discord.
What the hell?
What? Even if you click open chat?
I think he was saying he saw the one you posted about the published smart contract for the voting.
9:36.
Okay, hold on.
Discord-
We're different
Discord
time
is
zones.
debugging.
When you say
Yeah,
9:36, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's definitely not.
Yeah. 6 hours.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see the smart contract published one, but the ones after that you don't see yet?
Yeah, I see he just typed in there, so you don't see anything in between what you just typed and Titan's last post?
Maybe because I'm new to this.
Maybe there's some sort of permissions thing that needs to be added for...
Can you see Mike Zoop's post?
right below what you just posted?
Yes.
You see that?
So do you see all the posts above that?
No. Maybe just repost them and it will be fine.
That's really weird.
I even linked you in one here. Let's try it again.
Yes.
Okay.
It's working now.
Bizarre.
We're gonna totally bombard you with links now.
Great.
I'll let you guys do it.
Okay, so this one here is the original one by Varies that we've all kind of used, and then Mike posted one about Speedy Bird's full stack thing.
Yep. Great.
There you go. Are you familiar with Prometheus and Grafana?
Yeah. I already connected it, but I think I have very little variables. I just have the mem stats and the CPU stats and no stats regarding transcoding, but I will have to look into it.
Yeah, if you're getting host statistics, you're probably running Node Exporter, but you're not running there is a Livepeer endpoint that you need to set up as a scrape target for Prometheus. So you'll need to follow those guides and they'll walk you through all of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're pretty familiar with this stuff, so I think you're probably just missing a couple of things, like Zoop said, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And always, the Discord here, hit us up in the chat. We'll always help you there too. So if we don't answer your questions now, I think we've given you a water hose to drink from.
Great, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Anything else we can answer for you as we're sitting here about to switch topics?
Yeah, no, not at the moment. I think I have to work through everything. Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I just wanted to ask, well, related here, but I'm terrible at finding things on Discord, like threads that have disappeared. Does anyone know, can anyone quickly find the dashboards thread? Because maybe that's also another.
I
place
think
to
that
get more
got
ideas.
removed. I think that whole channel is gone.
It exists because I did find it over the weekend, but it took me like 10 minutes to find that, scrolling for like days. All right,
Well, the channel doesn't
I'll take a look
exist.
for it.
You
No,
know,
I
it's
think
right
they
here.
archived. They archived them. They didn't delete them because there was some good nuggets in there. So I think they moved them to some archive location.
Like how do you find that quickly? Like what do you like? How do you find?
so I went
No,
to the
I have it here.
archive. I clicked on
It's under
optimize your
optimize
node.
your
Top
node.
right, there's a threads
all right,
icon,
wow,
and
look
you
at
can just
you,
find
yeah.
the threads.
Here, copy link,
Yeah.
copy thread, copy link. Here, I'll just post it in the side chat.
Yep. I'm curious, Thomas.
Done.
What was
Post.
it? What was your experience like? You've had experience setting up nodes for other projects. What was it like in comparison setting up nodes for Livepeer as a first time?
Yeah, it was really easy. I was surprised. The helper tool is quite good. So this CLI tool where I can see every stat. I'm not used to that. So yeah, I read everything in the documentation and it just worked. So
Awesome.
That's beautiful.
Follow-up question is, what is it like setting up a graph node? Because I've always been super interested, but it seems really overwhelming.
yeah, right. I was in this program where they bootstrapped new validators. It took now like 6 months or so. Was quite hard. So it needs several weeks to understand everything. There are several components which have to move data around from one program to the other, and you have to also run all the other nodes. You have to run the Ether full node, several layers, and then the layer 2s like Arbitrum and Phantom and what you want to run. It was quite interesting, but also these tools are also quite hard sometimes to implement. But yeah, it's doable if you have experience with other nodes. I think you can go and operate the graph. They're also migrating to Arbitrum now. They have just 5% of their fees now there, but they want to expand. So yeah, I'm quite a big fan of that.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we run ETH nodes here. We run Arbitrum nodes, so we're familiar with running nodes for sure. But those seem to be, as Ben pointed out, like just a step above those layers, right? Like Filecoin also in the same vein is that it just seems like there's a lot more setup and the node requirements to get going are a lot broader and bigger than some of these other projects.
Yeah, and there are also quite big changes. So you have to, the documentation is outdated maybe, and you have to look at it every 3 months or so if updates come.
See, we've been spending, a bunch of us here, especially in this call right now, we're spent time writing grants and doing work for Livepeer. So as you look at the docs, many people have spent many hours working through those things. So and to be honest, to give Livepeer credit, we've kept the public docs really current. And as you said, you went through it and it just worked. Like I love it. That's great. Someone's doing something right here.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, again, welcome, and if we can help in any way, that's good. And I think you made some friends. You'll be getting some DMs, I'm sure, and finding out how you're doing all that graph wizardry.
Yeah, looking forward to getting deeper into this.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So Papa Bear and Brad's favorite topic next on the menu. If anyone else, last calls for help. All right, Papa, what do you got for, and Brad, what do you got for broadcaster introspection?
I can start. Nothing much has changed on my end. I'm just letting it run as it is. We are in the part now where it just does 5 days. So older tests are starting to roll off, and it's just a 5-day window right now. It is going to reset.
So just to get everyone up to speed, though, quickly, broadcaster introspection is basically, we have a tool that we're trying to look at logs and gather metrics from the broadcaster. This is the ingest side, the one that's sending the streams to us orchestrators, right? So we have a tool that's looking at that and checking and validating the breakdown of streams. Where are they going? Which orcs are qualifying, and how do they get selected? So this tool starts to gather the metrics and show which orchestrators are getting picked based on the algorithms from the Go Livepeer broadcaster. So there's some randomness, there's some rules that govern it, and we just want to understand what that breakdown looks like. And I think Brad has been, instrumental in working through building up this infrastructure to get this data and start to look at it. And we're sharing it, trying to get others. I think the Livepeer broadcasters are going to start feeding the data as well, or at least in some fashion. But I think that's where we're really going to get a lot of insight into what's going on in the ingest side of the demand side of the protocol. So this is probably something that everyone's going to be interested in. But go ahead, Brad and Papa.
As I was just posting the 2 links in there, I do actually have a request for you, Brad. Would it be possible to have a link from one to the other on
Yeah,
pages?
it's possible. I just haven't done it.
Oh,
That's all.
okay.
There's no
Yeah,
good
no.
reason. There's
Yeah,
no good
no,
reason why I
or
haven't
at
done
least,
it.
and now that I'm looking at it, maybe even label like which one's New York when you're looking at them. Because if you're like me and you like switch back and forth, I'm like squinting to
Yeah.
look at my. I keep it on a window kind of far away from me, and I'm like, which one am I even looking at right now?
Yeah, I can
Just
do that.
two little things I just kind of throwing out there, which I've thought about in the past, but never actually brought up to you.
I can definitely do that, and from
Yeah,
my experience so far, this has like created more questions. It's answered some, brought some insight, but it's just more questions now, which is
Well,
good
that
because
was
it
what I was going to
helps
ask,
everybody
right?
understand and helps. But I'm doing a lot of digging through code
Well,
right now.
that's what I want to know right now. If I had to, based on where you are right now, if you could say, what are those questions? What are the things that you're scratching your head about and you're looking at, and it's not, your head turns sideways when you start thinking about it? Like, what are those things that you're facing right now? And then, what are the key insights that you found that you thought, this is interesting? Like, what are those things that you see as you're in there banging on it?
Okay, let me try to get my thoughts together on that. So, one of the first things that always kind of catches me off guard is when some of us that have, good performing nodes get swapped. And it's trying to figure that out is somewhat difficult because there are variables that are not out in anybody's control, and like network issues. You could have
you say
7 segments that upload, download really fast, and then all of a sudden one of them takes a long way around for some reason or another, and then the orchestrator gets swapped. That's one of the things that's the hardest to figure out. Insights, real quick, the top one here would be that overall the network performs pretty well. Outside of the couple orchestrators that don't transcode or doing CPU transcoding or something, most of the orchestrators get the segments back with plenty of time. So I thought that was
That's
a good
good.
thing.
Yeah, that is good. Wow. I mean, again, I
what
think
I found interesting
go
is
ahead.
just how different the some of the results are versus like on the tests that Brad sends out versus like Livepeer's the old tests that we would look at from Livepeer, just the standard ones. Like there's sometimes nodes that seem to perform really well there, and they doesn't necessarily translate to what I see on Brad's results. I don't have an example off the top of my head, but I know when I was kind of comparing some of them, I was like, oh, like these, like you'll get like 100% and all good times on on the scores on the Livepeer stuff, and then you look and you say, like, oh, this is up, or this orc is swapping out stuff, and or their times aren't as good, and
those swap outs are the segments, right? And that's through HTTP, correct? That's not the gRPC stuff. Yeah. So what I do know about HTTP spec is that that's probably not a good way to transmit the sessions, because it's a request response scenario. So each one is unique and each one has a connection and each one's going to be open and closed. Now, depending on who's in between, there could be, connection pooling and timeouts and retries. So like if you see one segment comes and it's slow, there'll be a retry of some sort going on where it tried to submit it, it failed, and then it tries again and it fails, and then it finally gives up or something like that. And that's when you'll see like really horrible transmission times. It'll just look really bad. And again, when you're in a multi-tier network situation like this, you're not going to know where the issue came from, because it could be the ISP, it could be the node, it could be the transcoder, it could be the GPU, it could be, there's like a quadrillion things in between you and that packet that's going to tell you what went wrong. But I can almost assure you, the fact that it's over HTTP, it's not a persistent connection, it's going to pay those every segment where you have to open and close somewhere. There's going to be one of those out of 100 that's going to fail. You know what I mean? There's always going to be that one, and it's going to look ugly. So, but if you have persistent connections where it's all of the sockets are always open and you're able to keep the data flowing, you're not going to pay that price. You won't see that erratic behavior. It's just HTTP protocol.
And this is how it's always been done with the orchestrator from the broadcaster. It sends
That's
it over
right.
HTTP, and like the testing like setup I have, it's just sending an HTTP request on the same local network. So that's not doing anything too crazy there. But this is also what Catalyst does too. They send the segments from Mist to the broadcaster via HTTP.
Because it's the easiest way to have the limit on the nodes, right? Because if every node had an open connection from every broadcaster, that's a resource cost that every node operator would have to pay. So this HTTP handshaking, if you're not getting a session, you don't have a socket, right? It's not there.
Right.
And only when you get selected do you now get a connection. So like it keeps these are trade-offs that they made when they were building this stuff. So you're just having to deal with what they are now.
Yep. But like I said, for the most part, it works fine. But like you said, it's that 1 in 1,000 that just gets lost.
Yeah, that's right.
Line.
You're never going to have 100% uptime. I don't care what your system is, especially an HTTP-based system. It's just not going to happen. So that's good, though. No, I mean, the fact that the charts are really good. So if folks have a chance to go look at the chat and see the links to this tool, it's really cool to see, when they get selected, when they get swapped out, as he's saying, when like if you fail to keep up, they'll swap you for another org. And if you're seeing a lot of swaps, you might want to look at your infrastructure and start making some changes.
That's a good point. If you see like one swap or two, I wouldn't go off the deep end looking at everything. It's more of a pattern type thing.
That's right. Look at everyone else and look at your people with similar stake and see why are you getting more swaps than the other, right?
Right. That's it. That's the best you can do on this. And another point to note is at least my New York-based one, the testing setup, is on a commodity VPS through Vultr. I didn't go wild on getting, guaranteed gigabit connection or, 16 cores or a lot of.
So take that as
memory.
a skew. That's
so
a
it's
skew
just
to the
it's just
thing,
like what I thought somebody might spin up. Like, hey, I want to spin up a Catalyst node. I'm just gonna go get a 2-core 4 gig VPS and see how it goes.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
The whole rack probably shares the gigabit connection, to be honest. So anything's possible.
Well, the cool thing is that this is going out to all orgs. No, that's not cool. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that this test is going out to each orgs, and there's a chance that you can win some of Brad's money. So just from him testing, you have a chance of taking Brad's money. So that's a good thing.
$1 at a time.
Hey, we'll get it. We'll get it, baby.
What's another thing I think I could do? If I lower the reserve, I could get it probably all the way down to just a little bit above Ethereum cost, like transaction cost.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I didn't try to explore the floor, but it was at 75 cents before. I upped it a little
Well, if
bit
you
to at
have
least
a
make it $1 about.
tweak that number to adjust it, because I was trying and struggling with that. If you know how to do that already, that in itself is gold, man. That's worth info, right? Like
Right. I
that's
mean, it's
that's
it's 1/100th
broadcaster can
of the
control
reserve.
their costs.
1/100th
Did
of
you?
the reserve is the general part, but there is a floor. I believe it's some. I haven't looked at it in a while. Some factor of transaction cost or expected transaction cost.
Right. When if somebody can go out there and say with fact that here's the cost savings to run a broadcaster from Livepeer versus running it through AWS or something else, I think that's a good piece of info.
Oh, I don't have that, but yeah, one of the requests was to add like Ethereum paid out in total over a set number of days. And you, since all the segments are the same, you can kind of calculate seconds and
Yeah.
dollars paid. I'll get to that at some point.
Good info
Yeah.
right there. Cost.
You know,
That's
the other
cost.
thing too is when you're sending out the 10 segments, you're gonna pay more per, minute or hour than if you were to send out longer streams, just because you're sending out a fresh
Yeah.
ticket with each, one. So
And
I mean, I know you know that,
every
Brad, because we've
stream,
talked about it, but for everyone else, that's what makes it tougher to get the answer you're looking for, Mike. At least from doing these shorter streams.
Yeah.
every
Figure out.
stream sends out 2 tickets on the first and second segment. Every single
Yeah,
one.
I wonder why does
Oh,
it send one
really?
on the
I didn't
second?
know that.
Yeah,
Even
why
when
does
I
it
it
didn't
go?
know that.
even when it switches, it'll send 2 to the next person as long as there's 2 more segments to go.
What does anyone know why it does two ticket? Like, why does it get a ticket on the second segment as well?
Maybe that's why they're getting the back-to-back hits all the time too, because that's
Well,
not coincidental.
I'm
well,
not sure,
that would
but yeah,
But we've
still.
seen a lot more of them recently, right?
I mean,
yeah,
they're not coming from these tests, because you would be able to tell by the that what is it,
The
like
dollar amount.
0.0065. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, I haven't seen the tests spitting that out.
Interesting.
But it would be interesting to figure out if there was a way to calculate, and I know I don't know if it's worth it. What would be the optimal price for you to set these tests at, so that really it would be like the equivalent of like sending out like a ticket every, or maybe two, whatever it is at the beginning, like for just that, not like assuming that this is going to be a long running stream, so that you're like actually, so that you're not paying out like more than you really should be for the amount of work you're requesting.
yeah. I should do that. It does
I-
keep it on deposit though, I believe. So if you get selected again, it might not send you a ticket. But if I restart the broadcaster, I think that goes away. Haven't tested that though, but that's just my gut feeling on it. 'Cause you'll see if you like pull the data down, you'll see there's some test streams that no Ethereum got sent or no tickets got sent. It's because I've already paid that Orchestrator
Oh, really?
through
I
another
didn't know
test
that.
stream. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that it works that way.
Wow, I didn't
Paid
either. Wait, say
paid is
that
in
again?
quotes because every time you send a ticket as a broadcaster, you've paid. Whether it cashes or not is not a factor in the equation, really. For that stream, you've paid once you've sent the segment or sent the ticket. But it keeps it on deposit. Like there's an accounting thing that I believe it keeps on deposit. And then right now, another nuance to this is it estimates when it estimates the fee to pay. I believe it uses 120 FPS as to overestimate. And then what gets taken off the balance is the actual FPS at the end when it communicates back what it actually was when it got transcoded.
Because that's going to be your next project, is to do one of these things for the payment system. So just to let you know.
Oh
Just to
boy.
let you know what I have planned for you.
Oh man, you're crazy, Papa.
Yeah, it's been pretty insightful. I think it's helping. It gives some insight and some lens into what's happening and what the broadcaster sees. my next step in all this is trying to look at how to get the stuff from Loki, because I'm just using Python and the Docker Python connection to get the logs right now. I did see Loki has an HTTP API, but I don't know how. Like,
I'm gonna see
they
if I
probably be
can
done
try
in
to figure
batches.
something out for you. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You just pull it down based on your last timestamp pulled or something, and you just grab it. But I can poke around in there. I think that's a well documented API.
I was going to actually bring that up, is that, Brad's made this great chart, which personally for me is just great because it makes it super easy just to like look at and see. But, all this stuff will, from Livepeer, be going into a Loki instance, and there's probably, other ways or definitely other ways to visualize it, but there might be things that could be done either better or just in a different way. So maybe someone who's better with Grafana wants to get ready to start figuring out, not figuring out, but like once it comes up, wants to take a look at like making charts or figuring out other stuff to do with the data that's available. Because it'll be a different, we can visualize it in Grafana and that type of stuff. So
it'll be different visualizations than how I've done it. There's some of the stats that I'm producing, I don't think are going to be easy or maybe not possible to produce in Grafana. It's just I'm adding things up as I'm parsing through all the test streams. Total Orchestrator swapped, pool sizes. You might be able to get that in Grafana. I'm not very good with Grafana, so I would very much welcome somebody else giving it a crack.
I see Thomas join.
Marco can do it. Marco can do it.
I see Thomas join. This is like a good testing tool. So if you're a new orchestrator, this is a good way to find out if you have errors, right? Like if you're seeing swaps and all kinds of stuff going on, it's a good testing tool.
You can also send yourself a test stream, like directed right at your orchestrator, to see that you're being discovered and that you're transcoding.
Oh, you added that little feature? I didn't know that.
Look at the page.
It's under the request stream.
Wow.
Just don't go crazy with it, guys.
I clicked on the New York test. It did work, but I guess the EU form doesn't work.
It could be. I'll look at it.
The EU. Wait, the EU. The link doesn't work, or the request, the stream doesn't work on the EU?
The stream request. It always says ETH address not input.
I'll give it a look. Sometimes these things are in state flux because I'm updating a lot.
Well, he's new though. He just activated. I think he said he's like today's his first day.
Yeah, I'll give it a look and try to get it back up on the EU side.
But New York did work.
That's interesting.
Also, it could just be the way that caching works for Livepeer, like when it's
it hasn't been restarted, right? That's what I was saying. Maybe it just needs to reboot the B.
Is your status showing live, or sorry, the active if you go in the CLI, Thomas?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, because it takes a round before you're considered an active orchestrator. So I just want to make sure you've been set up for at least a round.
I see Frank joined. Let's get his intro, and then maybe if he has any other topics, and we'll continue on. You out there, Frank? No, can't hear you just yet. That's fine. That's cool. So anything else on the broadcaster introspection as we wait for Frank?
Nothing for me.
I think this is excellent. I can't wait. I mean, again, I'll do what I can to help you with whatever low-key query you need, and if I can assist in any way. But this is fantastic. I think this is definitely probably one of the most exciting things I've seen in a while.
I appreciate that. I just hope it helps people.
It will
be able to see, because it's always been a black box ever since I started in early 2021. Like, I think it's working.
Yeah.
Not sure if it's working, but I think it's working.
Look, man, I'm telling you, every one of us. If you're an orc and you started out, if you didn't have a problem because you didn't know what was going on, this is definitely giving you some vision. Cataracts is better than blind.
That's true. Wasn't expecting that analogy.
Well, we were
I didn't
blind,
see that.
I don't
right?
think I've heard that one before, but it works.
I'm just saying, I'd rather have any visibility than none.
We understand we understand that. You just like tell people you caught a
I'm
couple people off
using
guard
that
there.
one. I'm definitely taking that one.
Oh man. Well, hey, I don't know. Titan is getting out of control here, but is there anything else pop on the list?
Nope. We covered all the topics. I don't know if Frank's back, if he can speak, or if he. I didn't see if he left and came back, or if he's just not. If mic's not working.
Yeah, I don't know. You want to give it another go there, Frank? All right. Well, anything else, guys, before we oh, here he goes. Go ahead, Frank. Nope. I don't
Oh,
think it's
we're glad
working.
you're here. We're glad you're here, Frank. Unless
Yes.
you're trying to say something important, then we feel bad that you can't hear. Oh wait, some new posts in the chat. Is he's saying
What?
Seems to be something wrong with his mic. Sorry.
All good. All good.
If you have
Well,
a topic, Frank, go ahead and post it in the chat, and we'll start talking about it, even though you can't reply. I think we're good with all the topics.
yeah,
For today.
I do. No, that's good. Any closing thoughts from anyone? Titan, you want to add anything?
Oh,
Well, sounds like. All right, go ahead, Titan.
Thanks so much, and thanks for hosting. It's been great.
Nope. All right. Well, hey, everybody, thank you all for joining. I think that concludes it. I am going to sign off as your guest host, and thank you all for attending. And it's been my pleasure for sure.
Thanks you,
for
Zoop.
stepping
That was
in,
awesome.
Mike.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
everyone.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Until next week.